Hello, and welcome to our flag football rule overview. This year, as you kind of have noticed in some email communication, um, we will be utilizing the rules that are put out by Special Olympics North America. Since these rules do have a few significant changes to what we have used in the past, I wanted to go ahead and do a little voiceover presentation of our flag football rules so that everybody is on the same page um, coming into our state tournament in November. So to start off with, I wanted to make sure that it is noted that these rules do run um, in um, uh, in with the Special Olympics North America flag football rules. And I have linked that PDF here, and it also is linked in the flag football manual that has been sent out. So if you do need to reference any of these rules, please see that copy of either the flag football rules manual or the Special Olympics North America rules. These are also what is used at USA games. So if we ever in the future take a flag football team to USA games, these are the same rules that will be used as of 2018 when they were last updated. To start off with, just want to go over some equipment and uniform information. So the official football, and I have put the dimensions there, will be used for all adult divisions, and that will include traditional and unified. And then our youth football will be used for our school age divisions. A protective mouthpiece should be worn at all times during competition. It is encouraged and will be used at the state level of the one-piece 3 flag football belt. If you are practicing with another type of belt, I'm not going to mandate that you all go and purchase new flag football equipment, but when you do purchase new flag football equipment in the future, if you are ordering new flag football belts, I would highly encourage you to purchase the one-piece 3 flag belt because that is what will be used at the state level, and it just helps the athletes being able to practice with what will be at competition. If you do need a link or need information on where to purchase these, just send me an email and I can provide you with that information. All participants should have matching uniforms with numbers on the front and the back. This is just helpful for our officials. As long as they do have numbers on the back, they will be perfectly fine. And then making sure that their shirts are tucked in. With the flag football belts, it is very, very helpful that if that your pants not match the color of the flag football belt. So if you know that you have red football pants, maybe going with a yellow or blue flag belt so that it's not matching the colored pants that you have. No jewelry should be worn at any times. No blue jeans will be allowed. It needs to be athletic bottoms and tops. No spikes or steel metal cleats. Only rubber cleats should be worn or athletic shoes, and that's for safety purposes. And also, there will not be any wheelchairs or walkers permitted in with our traditional or unified play. If we see increased numbers in wheelchair and walkers, then we can consider making a division with just wheelchair and walkers, and that is for safety purposes. So the game, we will be offering a traditional adult division and our school age division for traditional events. Within each of those events, there will be divisions based on ability levels. And then we will also be offering unified team as well. Within that unified team, if we need to create separate divisions based on ability levels or even school age and adult, that is something that we can do if the number of teams allows for. Just so everybody is aware, flag football is a non-contact sport, and then all rulings from officials should be made with their player safety being the number one consideration in those rulings. As I said before, teams will be grouped in divisions, and that will be based on if since we don't have multiple rounds of games in one tournament before competing in the semifinals, it'll be based on practices and any games that are played prior to the state tournament. Since our flag football is still continuing to grow, we don't have as many regional competitions taking place, so we place in divisions based on recommendations from coaches and performance from previous years as well. Again, no team shall repeatedly commit penalties or fouls. So just making sure that we are keeping in line sportsmanship, and referees will be enforcing any penalty that he or she considers to be equitable for the unfair act that is to occur in that instance. So a little bit later on, we'll talk a little bit more about sportsmanship and penalties and kind of that type of thing, but just to remember those points of emphasis. So each team or each game will start with a coin toss to determine first possession. During those coin tosses or captain's meetings or coaches meetings before the game, each team should have a representative during those meetings with the officials to determine the first possession with a coin toss. This will occur about 30 or so minutes before the game starts, and then the winner of the coin toss will choose offense, defense, or end of the field to defend. And then the winning team may defer its choice to the second half if he or she so wishes. For scoring, touchdowns are 6 points. Extra points is 1 point from the 5-yard line, 2 points from the 12-yard line, and those will be marked on the field, and then 2 points for a safety. And we will be talking about the dimensions of field in a later slide. So all possessions except following an interception will start at the offensive 5-yard line, and that will be marked on the field when lines are drawn, so that each team can see where that is at. The way that we have the field set up is a little bit different, and you will be able to see that in a chart in the next couple of slides, but the offense will have 4 plays or 4 downs to cross midfield line. Once they have crossed midfield line, they will have an additional 4 plays or downs to score another touchdown, or to score a touchdown. If the offensive team fails to cross that midline in those 4 plays, then the possession of the ball changes and the opposite team starts at their 5-yard line. The ball carrier may not spin, dive, hurdle, stiff arm, or use any arm to shield the defender from grabbing their flag. This is considered flag guarding or shielding, and then will result in a penalty, which we will talk about a little bit more in the next couple of slides. The ball is marked at the spot where the possession of the ball is when the player is declared down. So, and down is considered when the flag belt is pulled or a knee and a hand touches the ground. So once that ball carrier is declared down, the ball will be marked by the officials, and that is the spot where the ball will be. So as I've been referring to, here is the diagram of our flag football field. So 60 yards long, 25 yards wide. If you are having a regional competition and this is not the allowed amount of space, then we are able to make it slightly smaller, bearing that as long as we have 5 yards around the field, clear from obstructions, and again, making sure that safety is the number one. In the diagram, you will see that we will have cones to signify the midfield and then the end zones as well. So another thing that is a little different is that there will be no run zones. So 5 yards from the midfield line will be a no run zone where the quarterback will, or there has to be a pass thrown, and that will be 5 yards before each midfield and 5 yards before the end zone. Stepping on a boundary line is considered out of bounds. And then each offensive team approaches only 2 no run zones in each drive, and that is 5 yard zone before midfield to gain the first down, and before the end zone 5 yards from the goal line to score a touchdown. So for our rosters, the team roster may contain a maximum of 12 players. This is a 5v5, so teams shall field 5 players to start the game. That is required if during a game or disqualification, teams may play with 4 players. For unified, same, the roster shall be 12 players, and during competition, teams shall field 5 players to start the game, which can the lineup shall never exceed 3 athletes and 2 partners. Again, you may continue with a minimum of 4 players due to disqualification or injury during a game. Timing, the game shall consist of 2 20-minute halves with a running clock. Officials will be able to stop the clock at their discretion for any delays or injuries or anything of that matter. The clock will stop on all timeouts. Each team will receive 1 60-second timeout per half. An unused timeout in the first half does not carry over to the second half. There will be a halftime in between those 2 20-minute halves. That is a maximum of 5 minutes. The ball must be in play within 30 seconds of the previous play, and a failure to put the ball in play in that 30 seconds will result in a delay of game. And a delay of game, below you will see what a delay of game includes. So interrupting the 30-second count for any reason except for a granted timeout, consuming more than 30 seconds to snap the ball after it's ready for play, failing to remove an injured player for whose benefit an excess time has been granted, and deliberately advancing the ball after it has been declared dead. So I have included overtime rules. A coin toss will determine first possession, similar to when we start a game. Each team receives 2 plays from midfield, and the team gaining the most points or gaining a yardage advantage is awarded 1 extra point and wins the game. Exception to this rules are as followed. Interception, the team that intercepts the pass automatically wins the game. If the team with the first attempt in overtime scores on the first play, the opposing team must score on its first play also. If both teams score a touchdown or gain the same yardage, the procedure is repeated until one team wins. Great. So for live ball and dead ball situations, so the ball must be snapped between the center's legs. And then there is also no minimum players that are required to be on the line of scrimmage to start the series. There are no fumbles. So once a ball hits the ground, it is considered dead. Here are some other plays that are when the ball is ruled dead. So the ball carrier's flag is pulled, or the ball carrier loses his or her flag. They step out of bounds. A knee or hand touches the ground. After a touchdown, extra point, or safety is scored. When a try for a point, during a try for a point, the defense obtains the possession of the ball. So if and they're considered, the ball is considered dead, and then it would start on the 5-yard line. When a forward pass strikes the ground or is caught simultaneously by opposing players, a pass is intercepted. There are no returns. A receiver catches a ball without his or her flags attached. A snapped ball touches the ground. If fumbled forward, the ball is spotted where the ball carrier's feet were at the time of the fumble. If ball falls backward, it is marked where it hits the ground. And then if there is an inadvertent whistle. So in the case that there's an inadvertent whistle, the team in possession of the ball may choose to accept the result of the play at the point where the whistle was blown, or choose to replay the down. And the official will ask the coach on the field on the team of which they would like to choose. Subs shall enter at a dead ball period, and then each substitute must play at least one down prior to being replaced, and they must leave immediately. So again, here is information on the delay of game, of what a delay of game is, and this and what it includes, and this is the same as stated previously in the presentation. False start. No member of the offense may simulate the start of play before the ball is snapped. And again, at the end of this presentation, we'll give what the penalties are for, say, a false start. So handling the ball by the offense. Handling the ball is just transferring player possession from one teammate to another without throwing or kicking it. So like handoffs. So only direct handoffs behind the line of scrimmage are permitted. Handoffs may be in front, behind, or to the side of the quarterback, but must be behind the line of scrimmage. So that's the key part of the handoffs. It must be behind the line of scrimmage. The offense may use multiple handoffs if behind the line of scrimmage. And then the ball must, for center to be handed off the ball, the ball must completely leave the center's hand on the snap. Then he or she, whoever's playing the center, must step backwards off the line of scrimmage in order to receive that handoff. So running, the quarterback or the first player who is to gain possession of the snap cannot advance the ball across the line of scrimmage. Only a direct handoff behind the line of scrimmage are illegal, and then they are able to run. Laterals or pitches, known as legally known as backward passes, are not allowed. Here's a point from the Unified Division. A partner may hand off to another partner behind the line of scrimmage. I do have a slide that is strictly for Unified Sports in this presentation. A player who takes a handoff can pass the ball as long as he or she does not pass the line of scrimmage. So if a player receives a handoff, they are an eligible passer as long as they are still behind the line of scrimmage. In those running zones that are on the diagram that are located 5 yards before the field line and the goal line, any ball that is snapped in these zones, and these zones will be shown by a cone on the actual field. So you'll be able to see where those zones are at. You may not run in those zones. They must be passed or thrown. And in those rules put out by Special Olympics North America, the purpose of these no running zone is to avoid short yardage power running situations. The ball carrier may not spin, dive, hurdle, stiff arm, or use either arm to shield the defender from grasping his or her flag. So that is considered flag guarding, and that is not allowed. The ball is marked at the spot where the possession of the ball is when the player is declared down. And again, this was already stated, but that is when their flag belt is pulled or when a hand or knee touches the ground. So hurdling is illegal, and that is jumping over or attempting to jump over a player to prevent being downed or to gain additional yardage. However, please note that if a player who is jumping over another player to avoid injury, that is the official's judgment, and they could deem that as legal. So if they are trying to avoid being injured, that is based off the official's judgment and could be deemed legal based on the situation. As noted in the previous couple of slides, flag guarding is using their hands, arms to deny an opportunity for the defense to pull or remove a flag belt, and is not allowed. So different things that could be considered flag guarding, be swinging the hand or arm over the flag belt, stiff arms, placing the ball in the possession, over the flag belt, lowering the shoulders or arm over the flag belt, or hurdling. So again, at practice, I would even include drills to teach athletes on how to properly run with the ball to try to eliminate any situations of flag guarding. Passing and receiving by the offense. So all passes must be forward and received beyond the line of scrimmage. Shovel passes are allowed but must be received beyond the line of scrimmage. All players are eligible to receive a forward pass, including the quarterback, if she or he legally hands the ball off to another player. And that note on the Unified Sports, if a partner throws a pass, only athletes are eligible to be receivers. Only one player is allowed to be in motion at the snap, and he or she, if they are in motion, may not be moving toward the line of scrimmage. A player must have at least 1 foot in bounds when making a catch. And interceptions change possessions of the ball at the point of the interception. A ball intercepted in the end zone is spotted at the 5-yard line. So let me, I want to repeat this last statement. Interception changed possession of the ball at the point of the interception. So once that pass has been intercepted, then the spot will be where they intercepted the ball. Unless they are in the end zone, then it will be spotted at the 5-yard line. Diving, and this is defensive or offensive player, may dive to catch a pass. Diving is illegal when used to down a player or advance a ball. Again, that is a safety concern. So to catch a pass, as long as they're not initiating any contact, then that is legal. However, to advance the ball or down a player, then that is illegal. A player cannot dive in an attempt to gain extra yardage, and the team will be penalized accordingly. So there is again, at the end of this, there's a slide with all of our penalties on it that we'll go over. Again, all offensive players are eligible to receive a pass, except in unified, where partners are ineligible to receive a pass thrown by another partner. However, they can receive a handoff partner to partner, but cannot receive a pass partner to partner. Great, let's talk about rushing. All players who rush a quarterback must be a minimum of 7 yards from the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. So if your players are going to rush the quarterback, have them a minimum of 7 yards from the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped prior to them rushing. Players not rushing the quarterback may defend from the line of scrimmage. Once the quarterback hands off the ball, the 7-yard zone no longer exists, and all defenders are eligible to rush. And that's only if they are handing the ball off. So this is about screen blocking. Legally obstructing an opponent without contacting him or her with any part of the screen blocker's body. The screen blocker shall have his or her arms fully extended to the ground or by their sides, in front or behind their back. So they should not be grabbing another player when they are trying to block them. And if they are using their arms or elbows or legs to initiate contact during the screen block, that is illegal. A player must be on his or her feet before, during, and after screen blocking. Screen blocking is the only form of legal blocking that can be used by any player at any time. So there are 2 types of legal blocking. That is backfield blocking. The screen blocker must give the opponent at least 1 step. The screen blocker must not initiate contact with the opponent. The screen blocker may not take a position so close to a moving opponent that this opponent cannot avoid contact by stopping or changing directions. Again, all of this is to make sure that we are not initiating contact. So that's what it all goes back on, is no contact sport. So we want to do we want to make sure that we are not initiating any contact whatsoever. After the ball is snapped, a blocker may move laterally or backward 2 steps. The second form of legal blocking is downfield blocking. A basketball style non-moving screen is the only acceptable form of downfield blocking. The blocker also may not run between a rusher and the ball carrier, impeding a defender's progress to the flag. Great, so here is some information about flag pulling. A legal flag pull takes place when the ball carrier is in full possession of the ball. So the ball carrier has to have the ball for the flag to be pulled. It is illegal to pull or strip the ball from the carrier's possession at any time, and that will result in a penalty. If a player's flag belt inadvertently falls off during the play, the player is down immediately upon possession of the ball and the play ends. So if the flag belt falls off at any time while the player has the ball, then the ball is called dead, and the spot is where they were at the end of the play. A defensive player may not intentionally pull the flags off a player who is not in possession of a ball and can result in a penalty. Again, I've said it a couple times, but flag guarding is an attempt by the ball carrier to obstruct the defense's access to the flag, and can be done in several different ways. So again, making sure that the jersey is tucked in, and that your player isn't trying to block the defense from getting to that flag in any way while they have the ball. So just some other information. The line of scrimmage. We all should know what the line of scrimmage is, but a vertical plane through the point of the ball nearest to the team's goal. Each player on the team must be on its side of the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. Only one player of the offensive team may be in motion at the snap, and they may not be moving toward that line of scrimmage. If the player comes to a stop, she must be set for 1 second. A shift is the action of one or more offensive players who are taking set position, who have a set position, move to a new position prior to snap. Any player that shifts need to reset for 1 second prior to the snap. And then a snap is the legal act of passing the ball from the center's legs, through the center's legs from the ground to the quarterback to start the play. So here is a slide for unified flag football. We've kind of gone over it while we've gone through the rules, but there should be a proportionate number of athletes and partners on the roster. To start the game, there should be 3 athletes and 2 partners on the field. Again, you can participate with a minimum of 4 players due to disqualification or injury during the game. Failure to adhere to the required ratio will result in a forfeit. In addition to unified partners, there should be a adult non-playing certified coach who is not a unified partner on the lineup and able to coach during competition. And this is separate from the unified partners who are listed on the roster. A unified partner is separate from a coach, and they have different responsibilities during a game. Partners as the quarterback may not pass to another partner. They may hand it off to another partner, but partners must pass to an athlete, or an athlete can pass to either a partner or an athlete. And partners should not be dominating the entire play. So Any officials do have may disqualify any player who is participating in roughhousing or unsportsmanlike play during player possession. Is illegal for the defensive player to strip the ball from the ball carrier at any time. Officials do not have to make a warning if they are disqualifying a member if the behavior is unsportsmanlike. Ball carriers must take an effort to avoid defenders with an established position. So ball carriers can't just run into a defender if they have an established position already. Defenders are not allowed to run through the ball carrier when pulling flags. So you can't, so there's, again, we are trying to eliminate as much contact as possible since flag football is a non-contact sport. So again, as promised, here is our penalties. Whenever a penalty does occur, coaches will be asked, and same with Unified. This is why it's important to have a coach. Coaches will be asked, not Unified partners. Coaches will have the opportunity to decline or accept the penalty based on the result of the play. So coaches, if you are asked to accept or decline, you may ask that official what the result of the play will be. And they should let you know as a courtesy from that. But you also you have this information, so you can already know as well. All penalties are assessed from the line of scrimmage. No penalty may take the ball more than half the distance to the offender's goal line. So this is our last slide of the presentation. I understand that there are these rules are pretty different than what has been followed in the past, but I think it's important that we are consistent what is practiced at the national level. So in the case that in the future we may take a team, they already know, they're comfortable with these rules, and we follow Special Olympics. We are a part of Special Olympics National, so it's important for us to be consistent with what they follow. If you do have any questions, or you think there's if there's anything not covered in here that you do have questions about, feel free to send those to me. I want to be completely transparent with all of our teams, so if there's a question, I'm sure another team does have that same question, so we'll make sure that everybody gets the answers that they need covered. We will have our state flag football tournament the first weekend in November, which is on that Sunday, which is November 3rd, and that will be down in Cincinnati. More details on that schedule are to come. Please know that it will be in the afternoon, so starting games will be in the afternoon area. So registration information will be out soon. It will have a little tentative schedule on there, and we'll be able to help you with your travel arrangements. So thank you all for listening. If you do have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to myself or Avery. So look forward to hearing from you, and good luck this season. Thanks. Bye.